Peace. The arrival of the hegemony. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Harmony, watching as massive alien ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Each vessel was the size of a small city, their hulls gleaming with advanced metal that seemed to bend light around it. Through the viewport, she counted 12 massive dreadnoughts, followed by countless smaller ships that filled the space around them like a swarm of deadly insects. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Torres from the communications station, "we're receiving a transmission from the lead vessel." Sarah nodded, straightening her dress uniform. For the past 6 months, Earth's leadership had been preparing for this moment. Every detail had been planned, every response carefully calculated. The main screen flickered to life, revealing an alien face that would have terrified most humans. Commander DarkHFY of the Hegemony Empire had 4 arms, skin like polished obsidian, and eyes that glowed with an inert fire. His voice, when translated by Earth's computers, carried the weight of absolute authority. "Primitive beings of the third planet," DarkHFY began, his tone dripping with condescension. "I am Commander DarkHFY of the Hegemony Fleet. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. Surrender your military forces immediately, and your species will be allowed to serve as workers in our galactic infrastructure." Sarah stepped forward, her expression calm despite the gravity of the situation. "Commander DarkHFY, I am Admiral Sarah Chen, representing the United Earth Government. We appreciate your offer, but we must respectfully decline." The alien's 4 eyes widened in what might have been surprise or amusement. "Decline? You misunderstand. Primitive one. This is not a negotiation. We have studied your species for the past solar cycle. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Your ships are slow and poorly armed. Your planet's defenses consist of a handful of orbital platforms and perhaps 50 vessels that barely qualify as military craft." The diplomatic charade. Behind Sarah, Captain Marcus Webb remained perfectly still, his hand resting casually near his sidearm. Marcus commanded Earth's Special Operations Division, and he had spent years preparing for exactly this scenario. The alien was right about one thing. The ships they could see were outdated and limited in number. But that was entirely the point. "Commander," Sarah replied with a slight smile, "our intelligence suggests your information might be incomplete. Perhaps we should arrange a formal meeting to discuss terms more thoroughly." DarkHFY's expression shifted to one of barely contained irritation. "Terms? You speak of terms when facing the might of the Hegemony Empire. Very well, primitive one. You have one of your planetary rotations to consider our generous offer. After that, we will take what we require by force." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Harmony in silence. Sarah turned to her crew, and for the first time, her diplomatic mask slipped to reveal a predatory grin that would have made a shark proud. "Well, that went exactly as expected," she said. "Marcus, signal General Ross. Tell her it's time to wake up the real military." The hidden truth. 300 kilometers beneath the surface of the moon, General Patricia Ross received Sarah's coded message in a facility that officially did not exist. The Lunar Operations Center had been under construction for over 40 years, hidden from all alien surveillance by advanced stealth technology that made it appear as nothing more than natural rock formations. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Ross announced to the assembled officers, "it's showtime. All units are to prepare for Operation Unveiled Thunder. I repeat, this is not a drill." Around her, the command center erupted into controlled activity. For decades, Earth's brightest minds had been working in secret, developing weapons and ships that were centuries ahead of anything the galaxy had ever seen, while the aliens had spent their time conquering primitive worlds and growing complacent in their dominance. Humanity had been innovating, adapting, and preparing for the day when they would no longer be able to hide their true capabilities. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Earth's leading quantum weapons researcher, looked up from her control station. "General, the quantum disruption network is fully charged and ready for deployment. We have 47 hidden platforms positioned throughout the solar system, each one capable of disabling the hegemony dreadnought in under 30 seconds. On the surface of Mars, what appeared to be a simple mining colony was actually one of Earth's most advanced military installations. Commander Jake Morrison stood in the hidden command center, watching as massive hangar bays opened to reveal sleek ships that seemed to phase in and out of normal space. Stealth Fleet Alpha is ready for deployment, he reported through encrypted channels. All ships are equipped with dimensional phase technology. The aliens won't even know we exist until we're firing directly into their engines. The ambassador's warning. Back aboard the Harmony, Ambassador David Sterling prepared for what might be humanity's final diplomatic contact with the hegemony. David had spent 20 years studying alien psychology, and he understood exactly how species like the hegemony thought. They were predators who had grown fat and lazy on easy conquests, and they had never encountered prey that could fight back effectively. The communication channel opened once again, revealing Commander Vexay's imposing form. This time, however, the alien was flanked by several other species, each representing a different conquered world now serving the hegemony. "Have you considered our generous offer, primitive one?" Vexay asked, his tone suggesting he already knew the answer. David stepped forward, his expression grave. "Commander, before you make any irreversible decisions, I need to warn you about something. You're making a terrible mistake." Several of the aliens on screen began what might have been laughter, a series of clicks, hisses, and electronic sounds that their translators rendered as amusement. A mistake. Vexay's forearms spread wide in a gesture of mock confusion. What mistake could we possibly make against a species that barely understands faster than light travel? "The mistake," David replied quietly, "is assuming that what you've seen represents our actual military capabilities. For the past 50 years, we've been hiding our true strength, the ships you've observed, the weapons you've cataloged, the defenses you've studied. They're all obsolete technology that we've deliberately left visible." The laughter on the alien bridge stopped abruptly. Vexay leaned forward, his glowing eyes narrowing. "You expect us to believe that your primitive species has been deliberately concealing advanced technology. For what purpose?" "Hope," David answered simply. "We hoped we would never need to use our real weapons. We hoped that diplomatic contact with galactic civilization would lead to peaceful coexistence. We hoped that other species would be wise enough not to force us to reveal what we're truly capable of." "And what?" Vexay asked with a sneer. "Are you truly capable of?" David's expression remained calm, but his eyes held a cold fire that made even the battle-hardened alien commander shift uncomfortably. "Commander, in the next 12 hours, you're going to discover that humanity didn't crawl out of the caves and stumble into space. We fought our way up from a world that tried to kill us every single day. We've been at war with our own planet, our own environment, and each other for thousands of years. We've learned to turn every disadvantage into a weapon, every defeat into a lesson, and every moment of peace into an opportunity to prepare for the next fight." The final ultimatum. The alien commander's expression had shifted from amusement to annoyance, and finally to something that might have been the first flicker of uncertainty. Around him, his subordinates exchanged glances that suggested David's words were having an unexpected effect. "Your words mean nothing," Vexay finally declared, but his voice lacked its earlier confidence. "Words cannot defeat the assembled might of the hegemony fleet. You have 6 of your time units remaining to surrender. Use them wisely." The transmission ended, leaving the human diplomats alone on their bridge. David turned to Admiral Chen, who had been monitoring the conversation with interest. "How do you think that went?" Sarah asked. "Better than expected," David replied. He's starting to doubt himself. That's the first step toward panic, and panicked enemies make mistakes. In the hidden depths of Luna Base, General Ross was coordinating the most complex military operation in human history. Across the solar system, weapons that had been concealed for decades were powering up. Ships that existed only in classified files were emerging from hidden bays. Soldiers who had trained their entire lives for this moment were taking their positions. "Dr. Vasquez," the general called out, "what's the status on the quantum disruption network?" "All platforms are online and targeted," Elena reported. "The moment those alien ships drop their guard, we can disable their shields and engines simultaneously. They'll be sitting ducks." "Commander Morrison, status report on the stealth fleets." Jake's voice came through the communication system with barely contained excitement. "All ships are positioned and ready, General. We have them surrounded, and they don't even know we're here. Their sensors can't detect us when we're phased into dimensional space. The trap is set." As Earth's final ultimatum period ticked away, the hegemony fleet moved into attack formation. From their perspective, they were facing a handful of primitive ships and some basic orbital defenses. Their intelligence indicated that humanity's total military capability consisted of perhaps 50 vessels and a few dozen weapon platforms. They had no idea that over 300 of Earth's most advanced warships were positioned around them, invisible and waiting. They couldn't detect the quantum disruption network that could disable their entire fleet in minutes. They had never encountered the dimensional phase technology that allowed human ships to attack from angles that shouldn't exist in normal space. Commander DarkHFY stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the primitive human vessels through his main display. "Begin the attack," he ordered his weapons officer. "Target their largest ships first. Make this quick and decisive." The first shots of the battle lit up space around Earth as hegemony plasma cannons opened fire on the visible human fleet. The alien weapons were powerful, designed to shatter the defenses of worlds that had never seen warfare on a galactic scale. What they hit were holographic projections. The real human ships, the ones the aliens could see, had withdrawn to safe positions hours earlier. In their place, Earth's most advanced holographic projectors created perfect illusions of spacecraft that existed only as patterns of light and shadow. "Sir," one of DarkHFY's subordinates called out in confusion, "our weapons are hitting the human ships, but there's no debris. No secondary explosions. It's as if we're shooting at nothing." That was the moment when Admiral Sarah Chen gave the order that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. "All units," she broadcast on encrypted channels. "This is Admiral Chen. The gloves are off. Show them what humanity can really do." The mask falls. Across the solar system, the true scope of human military power began to reveal itself. On Luna, massive doors that had been disguised as crater walls for decades slid open to reveal weapon systems that could shatter moons. On Mars, what had appeared to be mining equipment transformed into orbital bombardment platforms. In the asteroid belt, rocks that had drifted in space for years suddenly powered up as heavily armed battle stations. But the most shocking revelation came when Commander Morrison's stealth fleet dropped out of dimensional phase space directly behind the hegemony formation. 300 ships appeared as if materializing from nothing, their weapons already charged and targeted. "What?" Commander DarkHFY stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. "Where did they come from? How many ships do these primitives have?" His sensor officer's voice cracked with panic. "Sir, I'm reading massive energy signatures throughout the system. There are weapons platforms emerging from what we thought were asteroids. The human moon appears to be entirely artificial. And sir, there are ships appearing from some kind of dimensional full technology that our science division said was impossible." Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in her control center deep within Luna Base, her fingers dancing across controls that governed weapons the aliens couldn't even imagine. "Quantum disruption network activated," she announced calmly, "targeting hegemony fleet shields and propulsion systems." Across space, invisible beams of energy reached out from hidden platforms to touch each alien vessel. The beams didn't destroy or damage. They simply convinced the matter of the alien shields and engines to forget how to exist in their current configuration. "Sir," the hegemony sensor officer's voice rose to a shriek, "our shields are failing. All of them. The entire fleet is showing cascade failures in defensive systems. How is this possible? DarkHFY demanded. Human weapons cannot penetrate our shields. They're not penetrating them, his science officer replied, his voice filled with awe and terror. They're making them cease to exist at the quantum level. This technology is beyond anything in our databases. Commander Morrison smiled as his stealth fleet opened fire with weapons that had been designed specifically to counter every known type of alien technology. The human ships didn't just attack. They adapted their weapons in real time, learning from each shot and modifying their approach to maximize effectiveness. All stealth fleet units, Morrison commanded, remember the plan. We're not here to destroy them. We're here to demonstrate that we could destroy them anytime we choose. Disable engines and weapons, but leave life support intact. The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, the mighty hegemony fleet found itself completely helpless, their weapons offline, their engines dead, their shields gone. Mixed, sir. Some species are expressing amazement that someone finally stood up to the hegemony. Others are asking if humanity is available for mutual defense agreements, and several are requesting immediate diplomatic contact. San nodded. This was the moment humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, not as a primitive species begging for acceptance, but as a major power demanding respect. The alien perspective. Aboard the Dominion's Edge, Commander DarkHFY was receiving communications from across the hegemony empire. His superiors wanted answers, and he didn't have any that made sense. Supreme Admiral Korth, he said to the holographic image of his commanding officer, the humans possess technology that our science divisions classified as theoretically impossible. Their weapons operate at the quantum level, their ships can phase between dimensions, and their computer systems appear to be sentient. The Supreme Admiral, a being whose species had conquered half the galaxy, looked as shaken as DarkHFY had ever seen him. Explain to me how a species that achieved faster-than-light travel less than a century ago has technology that surpasses our own by millennia. Sir, I believe they've been deceiving the entire galaxy. The humans we've been monitoring, the technology we've been studying, the military capabilities we've been cataloging, none of it was real. It was all a facade designed to make us underestimate them. For what purpose? Unknown, sir. But based on their current demonstration of power, I believe they could have destroyed our entire fleet at any time. The fact that they disabled us instead of obliterating us suggests they're trying to send a message. That message was about to be delivered personally. Admiral Chen's ultimatum. The communication channel opened once again, revealing Admiral Sarah Chen on the bridge of the Harmony. But now, the human ship looked different. The outdated hull plating had retracted to reveal sleek armor beneath. Weapon systems that had been hidden were now visible and clearly active. Even the bridge behind Chen looked more advanced, with holographic displays and control systems that operated at the speed of thought. Commander DarkHFY, Chen said, her diplomatic smile replaced by an expression of cold authority. I trust you've had time to reconsider our discussion. Admiral Chen, DarkHFY replied, his voice lacking its earlier arrogance. Your species has demonstrated capabilities that our intelligence services fail to detect. Perhaps we can reach some form of understanding. I'm sure we can, Chen agreed. But first, let me clarify something about humanity's position in this galaxy. For the past 50 years, we've been watching, learning, preparing. We've seen how the hegemony treats other species, how you strip worlds of resources and enslave populations. We decided long ago that we would never allow that to happen to Earth. Ambassador David Sterling stepped into view beside Chen, his earlier diplomatic demeanor replaced by something harder and more direct. Commander, what you've witnessed today represents approximately 15% of humanity's actual military capability. The ships you're seeing, the weapons that disabled your fleet, the technology that's currently rewriting your computer systems, this is what we use for local system defense. Local system defense. Vexay's translator struggled with the concept. The ships and weapons defending Earth are the equivalent of what you might call a planetary police force, Sterling explained. Our actual military. The fleets designed for interstellar warfare are stationed in deep space, far from any system that your scouts have ever visited. The deeper revelation. As if summoned by Sterling's words, new contacts began appearing on both human and alien sensors. Ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. But these vessels were different from anything either side had seen before. Commander Jake Morrison's voice came through the communication channels, calm and professional. This is Admiral Morrison of the 1st Deep Space Fleet. We receive reports of hostile contact and came to investigate. The ships that accompanied Morrison's voice were massive, not in the bulky, intimidating way of hegemony dreadnoughts, but with the sleek efficiency of predators evolved for war. Each vessel seemed to exist partially outside normal space, their hulls shimmering with energy fields that suggested technology beyond current understanding. Admiral Morrison, Chen replied, the situation is under control. Our guests from the hegemony were just learning about humanity's defensive capabilities. Understood, Admiral Chen. First Fleet will maintain position at the system's edge unless needed. The implications of this exchange were not lost on Commander DarkHFY. The humans had casually revealed that they possessed not one but multiple deep space fleets, stationed in locations throughout and their communications jammed by technology they couldn't understand or counter. In the sudden silence that followed, Admiral Sarah Chen's voice reached every alien ship simultaneously. Commander DarkHFY, she said, her tone as calm and diplomatic as it had been during their first conversation. I believe we were discussing terms. Humanity unleashed. The silence of defeat. Commander DarkHFY of the Hegemony Empire stood frozen on his bridge, staring at displays that showed impossible readings. His flagship, Dominion's Edge, had ruled space lanes for over 2 centuries, its weapons capable of glassing entire continents. Now it drifted helplessly, every system offline except for life support and basic communications. Report, he commanded, his voice barely above a whisper. Sir, his tactical officer replied, his 4 hands shaking as they moved across dead controls. The entire fleet is disabled. Every ship. Our weapons are offline, engines are dead. And our shields, sir, our shields don't just appear to be down. According to our sensors, the quantum matrices that generate them no longer exist. Around DarkHFY, the bridge crew, beings from a dozen conquered worlds who had served the hegemony faithfully for generations, stared at their instruments in stunned silence. For the first time in their species' collective memory, the mighty hegemony fleet had been rendered completely helpless. Through the main viewport, they could see human ships that hadn't existed minutes earlier. Sleek vessels that seemed to bend light around them moved in formations that suggested technology far beyond anything in the hegemony's databases. Some ships appeared to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, flickering in and out of normal space like ghosts made of metal and energy. The true scale revealed. Deep within Luna Base, General Patricia Ross watched the tactical displays with grim satisfaction. For 40 years, she had overseen the construction of humanity's hidden military infrastructure, always knowing that someday they would need to reveal the truth about Earth's capabilities. Dr. Park, she called to the AI warfare specialist monitoring alien communications. What's their status? Dr. Lisa Park looked up from her console, where she had been conducting electronic warfare against the hegemony fleet with systems that operated at quantum speeds. General, we've completely infiltrated their computer networks. Their communications are under our control, their navigation systems are feeding them false data, and their weapons are responding to our commands instead of theirs. Excellent. What about their understanding of our capabilities? They're terrified. Lisa replied with a slight smile. Their ship computers are trying to catalog our technology, but our adaptive systems are changing faster than their sensors can track. From their perspective, we're using impossible technology that violates several laws of physics. On the surface of Mars, Captain Ana Rodriguez commanded Orbital Platform Olympus, a massive weapons system disguised as a mining station for over 3 decades. The platform's true purpose was to serve as humanity's primary deep space interdiction system, capable of stopping entire fleets before they could reach Earth. Platform Olympus to Luna Base, Ana reported. All weapon systems are fully revealed and operational. We have target locks on every hegemony vessel. Our quantum cannons can destroy their largest dreadnoughts in a single shot. Hold fire, Captain, General Ross replied. Remember, the goal isn't destruction. It's demonstration. The galactic network awakens. What the hegemony didn't know was that their defeat was being broadcast across the galaxy in real time. Earth's intelligence services had long ago infiltrated the galactic communication networks, and now they used those connections to ensure that every species in known space could witness what happened when someone threatened humanity. Colonel Sam Carter coordinated Earth's information warfare from a facility hidden beneath the Sahara Desert. His team had spent years preparing for this moment, creating a network of communication relays that could reach every corner of the galaxy simultaneously. Sir, reported his communications officer, we're receiving responses from over 200 species across 47 star systems. The footage of the hegemony fleet's defeat is spreading faster than we anticipated. What kind of responses? Sam asked. As the hegemony fleet prepared to depart, Admiral Chen stood on her bridge looking out at a galaxy that had fundamentally changed in the span of a single day. Humanity was no longer a hidden species preparing for the worst. They were now a galactic power with responsibilities that stretched across thousands of star systems. Admiral, Ambassador Sterling said quietly, "Are you ready for what comes next?" Chen smiled, the same expression she had worn during their first diplomatic contact with the aliens, but now it held the confidence of someone who knew exactly how powerful her species had become. "David," she replied, "humanity has been ready for this moment since the day we first looked up at the stars and decided we belonged among them. The galaxy is about to learn what happens when you give humans a reason to unite and a cause worth fighting for." As the hegemony ships jumped to hyperspace, carrying news of humanity's emergence as a galactic power, communication channels across the galaxy buzzed with activity. The age of human diplomacy backed by overwhelming military superiority had begun, and the universe would never be the same. The species that had once dismissed Earth as a primitive backwater now understood the truth. Humanity hadn't crawled out of the caves to stumble into space. They had fought their way up from a world that tried to kill them every day. And in doing so, they had become something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that turned every challenge into an opportunity, every setback into a lesson, and every moment of peace into preparation for whatever came next. The galaxy had warned them not to underestimate humanity. Now it was too late for warnings.